Hey everybody, it's B-Dubs here. I'm the red Terran here in the bottom right hand corner, and I will be facing this guy whose name I'll never be able to pronounce in the bottom left hand corner. This is a strategy for TvsT, and I'd like to make a quick shout out to the DSEL, the Dayton StarCraft League on Facebook, that I'm a member of. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I hope that we can keep releasing helpful strategy guides and casts to you guys as we continue on with this. Now, one thing I've always had trouble with in a TvT is trying to break through the Terran's early wall off, or what I guess their version of the wall off is going to be a bunker. But typically my builds like to open up, heavy barracks, early pressure, trying to keep the enemy on their back foot, and proceed to go from there. Well, a lot of my Terran opponents, especially in the Diamond and Platinum leagues, like to put a bunker or two down on the front and bring up their scvs to repair that bunker, and for a very minimal cost they're able to easily defend against my standard marine pushes, and then they'll switch to most likely banshees or tanks. Banshees in this case, since we're close air positions. Tanks would take a bit longer to go all the way around the bottom of the map here. One interesting thing as a side note that I learned when playing this map is the fact that apparently if I spawn here in the bottom right hand corner, my opponent can only spawn here at the bottom left or the top left. They will never spawn directly across from you because the land positions here are too close. Just an interesting little side fact. Now, my strategy that I'm actually going to be implementing today is a Reaper first build. I immediately go for a barracks at the standard time that Terrans always build their barracks right after their first depot, and then I for a split second cut scv production so that I can start a refinery at 13 supply, and then I switch to putting down a tech lab after I get that refinery set up, and I immediately try to get down a second barracks so that ideally at the 440 or 430 mark I would have 3 Reapers out, and but I'm a little slow. I mean, I'm still getting this build down, but I'm going to have all 3 of them out at the 5-minute mark, which, as I said, they're about 30 seconds slower, which especially in the early game does make a difference, but you'll see that it ends up working out pretty well, especially since we're so close to each other in this map. Beyond that, I mean, the trick here is to wait until you have exactly 3 Reapers to push out. Then you want to go through the back of the enemy base. As you see, they're going to have a wall off in the front, so their army's not going to be ready to stop you. This is a good example of what Terrans like to do. They like to either go banshees or tanks, and this build is actually a hose for that type of thing. The only thing that's going to really screw this up is Marauder heavy early, which is rare in TvT. Now you'll see I'll bring in these Reapers. 3 Reapers is enough to one-shot a single SCV, or it takes 3 shots to kill an SCV, so 3 Reapers do that very effectively. Now you see I pulled him off the line, and I'm just kiting these guys, constantly building more Reapers so I can quickly just pick off these SCVs. Now I do some bad kiting here, but you'll see that it doesn't really matter because the damage has been done. He spent all of his resources teching into cloaked banshees, that I've pretty much won this game at this juncture. His only hope at this point is to get this banshee out, which he does, and go after these Reapers. Now if my micro were up, as I'm currently trying to macro, I would have moved these Reapers out just outside of his base, and when his Banshee left to counterattack, I would have switched over to attacking his base again, just kind of constantly pestering him. But because I'm not really paying attention, I'm letting all my Reapers get picked off. Now, as I said, the only real weakness to this Reaper build is the fact that since your opponents are typically going something like Banshee, they're going to be able to attack those Reapers without being attacked back. That's why it's always good to try to get a bunch of Marines out, or engineering bay out as early as you can. I let a little bit of that slip, but you'll see that it really doesn't matter here, as I've done so much economic damage that the small amount of pressure he's going to be able to put on me with 1 cloaked Banshee in my base is going to be pretty much nil. As you see, I've got 5 Marines set up. I don't have any scans. I put down a mule when I probably shouldn't have. But you can see, despite all those errors, I'm still going to be okay. I'm going to get this missile turret up, and suddenly half of my base is defended from that. This orbital command's almost done, so this little Banshee's not going to have a chance. And here in just a second or two, I'll have a scan down, and he's pretty much done. And in his base, he's got 1 mule, an SCV, and a Hellion, and he's pretty much good, done for. So that's my build. Build 2 quick barracks. Get 1 Reaper out from the first barracks, and then 2 from the other 2. It should be timed that way so that you'll have 3 at roughly the same time. And then you'll be good to go. Send them into the back of the SCV line and try to do as much damage as possible. Now this build is a little all-in in that it does require at least a little damage to be done, or else you'll be set behind. But it's kind of hard to block it unless, as I said, your opponent decided to go early Marauder, which is almost unheard of in TvT. This is B-Dub signing off. See you guys later.